welcome to Blues to Do TV. My name is Marlee Walker, and this is Bunny Brown, my co-host. Yes, and we are a weekly live streaming podcast. We do this from the Seattle Drum School here in Georgetown, and today we are broadcasting on Duwamish land from the lab, the little auditorium in the back at 1010 South Bailey at the Seattle Drum School of Music. They do more than drums here. And let's see, I want to mention Bunny is a member of the National Black Radio Hall of Fame. She is my co-broadcaster pretty much every week and the voice of the American Blues Network. She is the niece of the one and only James Brown, icon in the music. Everybody I ask, no matter what kind of music they're into, they know who James Brown was.
They have a James Brown story.
Bunny Bubbling Brown Sugar, my guest today.
Yes.
And thank you for joining me.
And yourself, Marlee. You have worked at so many networks here in the Seattle area. You're well known. You're an icon here. You know, with
minor star in a constellation.
yes, with your Blues to Do and your magazine and being on the air and doing public radio, the whole nine works. You know, you're very appreciated here.
We both are, you know, and I thought it's so cool to do this with you. We're more powerful together than we are apart.
Oh,
we
yes.
all have to remember that in these troubled times that we're
yes.
going through. Yes, I have won 35 blues, more than 35 blues awards, including the Keeping the Blues Alive award from the Blues Foundation in Memphis.
Yes.
And I'm still singing the blues. I'm not whining. I'm not
Yes.
complaining.
Yes.
I'm not a victim. I am still singing the blues, though. And we had so much fun singing the blues up there in Port Townsend this week.
I missed it. You got to tell me about it. I heard
so
it. It
much
was
fun.
just fantastic.
Well, I always want to miss the Blue Angels for some reason. Some of us like them. I get it. Some of us are a little rattled.
Speaking of Blue Angels, you might hear one flying by any minute now.
The airport's right here, so they do like to circle over here.
Yes.
We heard a couple already this morning. So yeah, we're here today. Grammy Award-winning saxophonist Medearis Dixson is going to be our guest. So stick around. We're running a little late because he can't get here till 1:30, and we knew we had time to fill, and we had some technical things to figure out.
Yes.
So it's all good. It's all
Yes.
good.
I can't wait to talk to him.
He says he's related to you.
Yes, I can't wait. I am
there's-
so excited.
Now, I'm going to probably step back and let them have a conversation. I have to say my dad passed this week, and 92
Condolences.
years old. We told jokes because we couldn't talk politics.
Yes.
But about 3 weeks ago, I did call him and say, Dad, I just want you to know you did real good on food, shelter, clothing. I never had a doubt on all three categories, and that's what a dad's really supposed to do ultimately. If it's a couple, that's usually the role. So anyway, I just told him that. I was so glad I called him.
Yes.
So call your people, tell them you love them, and tell them how you appreciate him. You know, he wasn't
Exactly.
perfect. None of us are.
Exactly.
But you know, he was willing to come to the party and apologized even sometimes toward the end there, and that was big. That was huge.
Yes.
So
Yes.
anyway, missing Dad and putting it out there. We
Love you, Dad.
we're gonna let you lead the show this week. That's what that means. So welcome to Blues to Do TV, and Bunny Brown's gonna take the lead this week. You like the Blue Angels, don't you?
Oh, you know, I've never looked at it just eye to eye. I've seen it on television, but it looked so exciting when they were practicing. I was like, I want to see it, but I hear so much about it, you know, and the noise and
Can't get away
and
from
you can and you know another thing. My friend, my sister-in-law in Houston, Alita, she was like, "Hey, I don't want to go anywhere around the Blue Angels." I'm like, "Oh, it is so exasperating, you know, and adventurous." She's like, "No, they came to Texas and crashed. One of them crashed." I'm like, "That did not happen,"
Tragedy,
but
yeah.
it actually did. So,
Yeah.
you know, Godspeed to those pilots because they do really dangerous maneuvers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's exciting to us, but a millisecond, you know, of
Yeah.
the wrong way
Right.
is detrimental to them.
Now we're excited about Kamala's vice presidential pick, which is supposed to happen tomorrow.
Yes.
And
Yes.
one of them might be the astronaut guy who was a
Yes.
fighter pilot and then he became
Yes.
astronaut. That's pretty macho.
Yes.
Both of those.
Yes, but you look at it this way: he's
my.
a little up in age too.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
it'll be
really,
interesting.
really looking at Kentucky.
There's a lot of
Governor
riches.
Kentucky.
You know, I like
he's
Josh
young.
Shapiro
He-
myself,
yeah,
but
he-
there's a lot of
both.
ways she can go.
Yes.
And she knows what she's doing.
Yes, yes,
we'll
and
let
it's so
her-
exciting. It is
Yeah.
so exciting.
So how many days has it been? Like 10 days or
Yes.
something? It seems like it's been 10
Yes,
months. I mean, there's
yes,
just so much going on. Every day
yes,
there's more news, and she's getting a
yes.
lot of young people excited.
And
People,
man, the money, like Donald Trump talks about the campaign, how much he has raised, but Kamala outdid him within 2 days.
Kamala. Oh my
And
goodness.
I know it was detrimental to him. So now they're fussing about having the debate.
Right.
No, Donald Trump set the date with
And
President
now he's
Biden.
backing out.
So now with Kamala, he wants it on his terms on Fox News
Changing the
and changing the date. So I agree with her. No, we're going to do what we were going to say we're going to do on ABC News. We all know Fox News, loves Donald Trump.
Right,
So,
right. They're
yeah.
gonna spin it, right?
Yeah, they would spin it, and that's why he wants it on that specific network.
Well, and we really have to empower everyone to vote.
Oh,
If you don't
yes.
think it matters, if you haven't voted yet because 30 million people, mostly poor and low wage people, just are too busy to vote, they say. But check your registration, please, because some of the tactics have been to eliminate people from the voter rolls, and you
Exactly.
don't want to get there after working hard to get there and then
Exactly.
realize you don't have your name on the list. So
Exactly.
double check your name on the list, make sure you're prepared, and all the obstacles can be overcome. We know about obstacles.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, and in Seattle, in Washington State, I like the idea of mail-in voting. And if you're a senior citizen, they will get someone to get to you to bring you there. It knocks out the lines, the arguing,
Right.
the rallies.
Take your time, you look through it.
Yes, so I wish it would be like that across the country, but that's a no-no. Texas will never do it.
I've been an advocate of just requiring everyone to vote. If everyone was required to vote, we would have ourselves a democracy.
Yes.
So don't get me started on that one.
Yes, but making it a requirement wouldn't be good, Marlee, because then you think you're being forced to do something, and just because you're angry, you'll do something stupid.
Well, no, we take the day off.
So,
Everybody makes a
make it a
ritual out
national
of it.
holiday.
Yeah, let's have some
Voting day.
food and hot dogs, whatever's
Barbecues.
American to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Fried
anyway-
chicken.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Burger. Oh,
Yes.
yes. That's my new
On the
comfort
grill.
food.
Yes.
The Blues to Do podcast is sponsored by Mitch's Best Buffalo Sauce, and I want to give him a shout out because, we started this last September. Within a couple months, he was on board and wanted to sponsor,
Yes.
and that really meant a lot to me. We're working on getting a second sponsor because we now are starting to stretch this out to an hour.
Yes.
So there's room for a second sponsor, and I have turned up the heat. I learned Instagram this week. I'm going to learn TikTok. That's my next goal. So whatever platform you want me to deliver this information to you on, I am willing to learn. I am not a victim of Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg anymore.
Yes, yes,
Okay? I turned my
yes.
attitude around. Thank you to Julio for checking me on that one. So anyway, give us a jingle. Mitch's Best Buffalo Sauce is the sponsor of our show. We're going to give him a shout out, and then we'll do another shout out before the hour's up because Medearis Dixson is on his way.
Yes.
After church, he had to go to church and
Yes.
pack the
Amen.
piano and everything out. He's so
Amen.
talented. He plays everything.
Everything. Yes.
I saw him tiptoe over to the piano the other night, and it was like, wait, he's a saxophonist.
He's a sax. What are you doing over there?
Right? And we got the Blues to Do calendar. That's going to come up later. We have a lot going on this summertime. So stay tuned. More of the show coming your way here on Blues to Do TV on YouTube. Just search YouTube if you're looking for other shows. We've done so many shows. We also have, Instagram, Facebook, and they share it in places I don't even know about.
Yes, and YouTube. We go live on YouTube, so
Yeah.
that's a big.
They
big-
restream it, and I don't even know where it goes after that. So now I did get my website going. Blues2do.org is now published with a calendar on it, so you can check out what we talk about here on that website. Blues2do.org is the website. And oh, look, he's got the sign up. Now that's Medearis's QR code for his Facebook page. So if you want to check out more before he gets here, that's a great way to do it. Wave your phone over that QR code and check out Medearis Dixon. Awesome guy, just an incredible player. And he shows up, man. He shows up, and as soon as he does, people get him on
Yeah,
stage.
he gets the house rocking.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Okay, so now we don't have
Well,
a
let's talk
bathroom.
about Olympics.
Oh, good. That's
Now, Simone Biles, the GOAT. there's a Blue Angel. But this young woman, she went gold. She is the most decorated Olympian in gymnastics. And yet people went on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and talked about her hair. And it was like, how stupid can you be?
You sure wouldn't do that if it was a
This
guy.
woman is like an angel flying in the sky. She's like a spaceship, when
They
she
name jumps after her. I mean, she's got
exactly.
She's the goat.
And you know what? She responded very well with a comment. It's hot in Paris, and all black women understand when it's hot, no matter what you did to your hair, it's going to crinkle.
Crinkle.
You know,
That's the word, huh?
going to crinkle.
Like fries.
Yeah, like fries. Gonna curl up, baby. But just I was like the audacity, to even come with minute stuff,
Right,
bullcorn,
Right.
when this woman has made history
Right.
before the age of 30 years old.
Oh, yeah. I know.
So,
And
I'm
she
like,
hasn't said, I'm
wow.
not doing any more Olympics. She's probably coming back.
Oh, I
in
hope
the
so.
4 years.
I hope so.
That's
I hope
incredible.
So.
I mean, her
She
legacy.
took time off, and that's another level of respect
bet.
for her. With her mental health, she had to stop doing what she was doing because she was dealing with so much mentally. And for someone at her peak at the time,
Right. At her
to
level.
sit back at her level, to sit back and admit to the world, I've got some mental attention.
And I'm sure
I
that
need to
helped
take care
other
of.
people going,
Oh,
okay,
yes.
you're going through it, so am
Oh,
I.
yes,
You know.
it makes it okay.
Yeah.
It makes it okay.
I tell
And,
you what, yeah. And music is really good for brain damage. So is drumming. If you have any kind of brain issue, pick up some drumsticks or get your autistic kid to pick up
Yes.
drumsticks. That is what
Yes.
I'm convinced that they haven't even studied that enough.
Yes.
That really restacks the brain. It's like
Yes.
defragging your computer or
Okay,
something.
aren't the drums like the first instrument ever? Like, boom, I remember
I'm
in
sure Leslie Stargrim's
Egyptian
Milton would
movies
agree, yeah.
and everything else. They beat drums. They spoke through drums. They did the weather through drums.
Right,
They
right.
did the heartbeat
Communicate,
through drums.
right.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's get that Mitch's jingle on. Let's give Mitch some love, and then we'll come back and get your calendar started. And then we
Let's
got
do that.
Medearis Dixon showing
On
up.
the way.
There it is.
Mitch's best buffalo sauce. Mitch's best buffalo sauce. Well, the sauce boss says you've tried the rest. Well, you'll be back, cause this one's best. Mitch's best buffalo sauce.
It is a fun little jingle, isn't it? I
It
love
is.
it.
It's cool.
It gets
It's
me in a
cool.
good mood when I show up and I start humming it because I know I'm about to talk about Mitch's best buffalo sauce with just the right heat and just the right bite. This rich and creamy sauce made with all real butter tastes great on everything except dessert. Handmade in small batches, it's like a gourmet French sauce. Tastes great on any chicken dish, including wings. It's also great on any seafood, roasted vegetables, and many other foods. I like jicama myself. Available locally at QFC, Metropolitan Markets, Hagen Markets, and most fine meat shops in the Puget Sound area. Order directly from Chef Mitch, the sauce boss, at
The sauce
mitchesfoods.com. Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate you, man. That's awesome. And, yeah, I had so much fun in Port Townsend this week. You meet people, you get to sit down and talk with them. Sometimes I'm kind of shy, I have to
Yes.
admit, because it's overwhelming how many major blues names. It's acoustic blues, so you don't always get to see people that are on tour in Europe or wherever they go.
Exactly.
And acoustic blues
So
doesn't
who
always.
did you get to see? Tell me. Tell me
Oh
about
my
it.
goodness, Sun Pai Barnes is got to be my favorite. He plays the accordion. He plays the harmonica. He's a talented pianist. He didn't teach piano this time, but I've taken piano from him.
Okay.
And it's overwhelming because he's a beautiful football player, beautiful man. And then he shows up and makes you dance and blows his harmonica, and he's a good singer and everything. So, yeah, a lot of history. He works out of the Tulane University as well.
Okay.
Brilliant man. And what I'm hoping is Christian's going to get us set up to do some Zoom interviews, and we're going to get him on and some of the other people I met this week, because there isn't really time for interviews when they're teaching classes and they got to sleep and they're jamming, and you really kind of you feel rude kind of stepping in there saying, can I get an interview? So I thought, you know what, we're going to make all the contacts and bring them in on the screen.
And then I can get a Seattle Seahawk one or two, to zoom in with us, because, they might have the blues a little bit
There you go.
this year. But I must say, last week, I kind of smashed on.
Are you doubting the Seahawks already?
No. Listen, last week I kind of smashed on our baseball team.
Nope.
But guess what?
They came back and won a few.
They came back. They're number one game above Houston, the Astros.
Home runs.
So, the Mariners are number one again.
We like those home runs.
Oh, we like it. We like it. So if they can keep up the momentum.
Amen.
I apologize.
Well, sometimes that motivates people.
Yes, but when I went to the game, we needed to win, and we didn't. So, yeah, I was hating a little bit. So
For a minute. When you go to a live
go
game,
Mariners.
you
Yeah,
definitely
come on
want to win.
Seahawks. Yes.
So I also met Leroy Etienne. Now, as you know from the name, he's straight out of Louisiana.
Straight Louisiana.
And a drummer. Just the nicest guy, but he also carries a lot of history. He wrote a book that is big. He's got albums out. He plays with so many other people that you don't always notice, but he's solid, great drummer. Reminds me of Leslie Starr drums Milton, actually, and I asked him, do you know who Leslie Starr? I'm going to ask everybody that.
Right.
If you're from New Orleans, I want to ask Louisiana at all. But yeah, so I really enjoyed meeting him, Leroy Etienne, and I will try again to get a screen and get his book. I'll try and get his book before that so we get a chance to take a look at it.
So what is he writing about?
His family
music?
is called Creole. What is it? Oh, the word Creole is in it. Now I'm forgetting. I don't have it in front of me. You busted me on that.
Creole swamp.
No, but it's about his family. And the language, La Creole, is apparently unique, and his family helped to preserve it because they kept speaking it. Some people didn't keep speaking the language in their family, and they lost it.
Yes.
So anyway.
That happened to my family. And I remember when we were young kids, when they wanted to say something that you could not understand, they would speak in Creole, that broken French. Yeah. And we would try to figure out what they were saying, but we were never taught how to continue.
It was secret. They didn't want you knowing.
Yeah, because then we would know what they were saying.
Well, now, if you ask Alexa, I'm sorry, I just activated everybody's Alexa at home.
Oh, hi, Alexa.
There are 25 kinds of blues. Now, that blew my mind. I mean, I do enjoy many kinds of music that fall under that, but to count them up and go 25
different genres.
So we're going to keep doing the research and see if we can bring all 25 here to the table.
Okay.
The round table that we now have and enjoy. We also, gosh, there were so many people and conversations, gold and
You
stuff.
were telling me about a young man that they're calling the new B.B. King. Remember?
Oh, yes, and he's actually going to keep staying in town. He's going to play up in Kitsap County. They have a big event going on. It's the first annual Kitsap Blues Music Festival. So they use the word blues and the word music, but it's mostly blues people from what I can tell. Headliners are women, thank you very much. Samantha Fish, Joanne Shaw Taylor are both making waves on a national level. So again, first annual Labor Day weekend, Kitsap County Fairgrounds. They got camping. You can do tents or RVs. Tinsley Ellis, Too Slim the Tail Director, John Tavius, that's the guy you were thinking of. John Tavius Willis, he's like the next B.B. King. He can play the heck out of that guitar.
Really?
He can do whatever he wants. It doesn't even have to be in tune. He can make it sound good. Jackie Vincent, Tommy Castro and the Painkillers, Curtis Salgado, I mentioned him. A really fine lineup of Northwest people and women. They mix it up quite well. C.D. Woodbury, Stacey Jones, Rafael Tranquilino. It's going to be a fun day.
Yes,
sounds days, actually,
fantastic.
The 30th and the 31st and the 1st. So 3 days. And yeah, that's a new one. I'm glad. Because, Bumbershoot kind of stepped back from the blues. I mean, they still have the blues, but they don't have a blues stage. They spread it around. They wanted people to walk around more. So I think it's a grand opportunity to just plant a blues festival right there on the. So yeah, Kitsap. I'm gonna have to make it to that one. That looks like fun. We got more calendar. Should we do that now? We probably should,
Yeah,
because
start
Medearis
it.
is almost here. He's going to be here shortly. So
Yes,
let's do
let's
that
do it.
calendar. You know, my dad was a pilot, so it's kind of appropriate that the Blue Angels are part of the show today.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
See?
Kind of blew my mind
Exactly.
while you were talking about it. I'm like,
Exactly.
oh, okay. So let's see. The calendar, we're going to kick off with not the weekly stuff, but the stuff that's going on this week. As I said, acoustic blues workshops and festival, it's over, but today was the last day. Mary Flower, Judy LaPrade, who was a great beginning piano teacher for me, and also the wife of Phil Wiggins, who passed away this last year, and he was at every single Port Townsend acoustic blues workshops. When they called them country blues workshops, I mean, all 40 years, is it now? 50 years?
Oh,
I'm
wow.
losing track. 93. I got to do the math. Anyway, Judy LaPrade, great keyboard player and teacher as well. As I said, Bruce Sunpai Barnes is his actual name. Anyway, as I said, works out of Tulane University. And that's where you can find his drummer's book, the drummer who I mentioned, Leroy
Right.
Etienne.
Right.
George Ashman was there. Boy, he can pick, and he can throw his voice. He can pick anything. Andrew Ali, a great harmonica player. He's been in the scene, doing some stuff with Kim Field. He was part of that. Anyway, Mark Brooks, a great bass player, really total professional, travels all around doing it. Conrad Kamen, ukulele, he plays everything. Upright bass. He played with me on the song my dad taught me on ukulele, which is 5'2". I better not sing it; it's copywritten. But yeah, I told my dad it was written by a woman for a woman. Don't know if that went over very well, but
Right.
Jay Hopp was there. Benjamin Hunter, Ben Hunter, we know him. He
Yes.
does the Rhapsody Project, Work
Yes.
Folk Life, everything. I'm going to get him on the
Yes.
show real soon here. He said, just call me up anytime, but he's busier than anybody I know in the
Mm-hmm.
scene. Hubby Jenkins, a really great performer. I saw his set last night. Reverend Robert Jones, he was also there as
Okay.
part of the gospel choir.
Okay.
So the gospel ladies, they were awesome this year. Shirley Smith and Pamela English, look them up. Both can sing out of Detroit. So everybody comes from around the world to gather for this acoustic blues festival, and it really is a wonderful experience. Nothing like it. Some people did it for the first time this year, and those are wonderful interviews. I'm going to have some of those folks come here and join us. Sherry Kane, Valerie Kershoff is a great vocal teacher. I loved it. And her husband is Ethan Leonwand. Ethan has been my piano teacher the last few years there. So, and they both specialize in the St. Louis sound, which is based, there's a lot of piano there. So they just both really nail it. And she's got the vocals where she kind of does little lilts and tails and stuff on the end, and great teachers, both of them.
Cool.
Off the chart.
Oh,
really
cool.
enjoyed both of them as teachers,
Yes.
and just lovely human beings.
Yes.
John Greyhound Maxwell, he just moved to Port Townsend. He's been there every year too, pretty much. Tom Mitchell, Jaron Paxton. Jaron is not. He's just son of me. He plays piano. He picks everything. Nick Pence, Mark Purrier, who also does radio, and he did interviews up there at the radio station in Port Townsend, KPTZ.
You told me about the radio station.
I stopped by.
there.
They just moved into their new digs, beautiful new remodeled building. I have a feeling the other buildings that are kind of wearing out, they're going to do this to those. So this is a great example to see those buildings with the ramps and all this stuff.
Yes, yes.
So Lauren Sheehan, she's been there every single year, and she was there again this year. Great
Okay.
performer. She can pick it, and she can sing. And her daughter, Zoe, is also a great songwriter and singer. So wonderful to see the both of them. I hope to get both of them on the show at the same time. Now, that'd be an hour-long show.
That'll be cool.
David Steele, Clay Swafford, another great piano player. Heavy Southern drawl. Hard to always understand what he's saying, but man, he can play. He put a playlist together. I said, oh. So anyway, the gospel
Okay.
choir, the Zydeco dance, they do blues in the clubs. It's a week-long experience, and you have to take a rest at some point. You just have to skip something and go, wow, I need to rest.
Right.
So yeah, that was already done, but plan on it for next year. McCurdy Pavilion, Acoustic Blues Showcase. They do a big Saturday afternoon concert, but the clubs pop on a Friday and Saturday night as well. Okay.
Now
Coming
with the
up, what you
before-
got? What you
coming up, I was going to ask you the Cajun Festival in Kent. That's something we do annually
And that comes up. I got that on the calendar for the 17th.
of this month. Correct.
Of this month.
I can't wait to get some boudin and some Creole.
Well, you could just stop by Alta's anytime.
Oh yes, no, but it's fun when you go and you're hearing the music
For the
and they
event.
do
Oh, yeah.
and they do the Zydeco dance and it brings me home for a minute.
Right.
You know, so yeah, that's something I'm going to always attend
We make a
as
note
long
of
as
that.
we can.
And Lady A is going to be headlining at that. We're going to try and get her on the show too. She's in Norway
Yes.
right now, but we're
Yes.
gonna
Yes.
fit into her schedule somewhere. She's going to be
Yes.
part of the Poverty Bay Blues Festival, the Cajun Festival. She's getting around.
Yes, she is.
She also got somebody up there that I met, a young student, because they have the Rhapsody program, which gives grants to people to go to Port Townsend and to do the
Okay.
acoustic workshops for the whole week. So she hooked up a young person who really was perfect. She
On
was
point.
playing instruments and kind of needed some of that challenge, and she
Yes,
got
yes.
exposed to all of that.
Yes.
So
Well,
really
props
wonderful.
to you, Lady
Yeah,
A.
way to go, Lady A.
Fantastic.
So the Muse Blues Festival happened yesterday. Today, the 4th, is the International Blues Talent Competition Finals at the Conway Muse. It started at noon. It'll go all afternoon. And they just rebuilt the outdoor stage, so it's really happening up there at the Conway Muse. I also know that it's the second day of 2 days at the St. Michel Winery in Woodinville for Lake Street Dive.
Wow.
Now, that's Stephen Colbert's favorite
Yes,
group, or one of
yes.
his favorite groups, from
Yes,
what I
it is.
understand.
He talks about them all the time.
Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp, Billy Strings. It's an outlaw festival. That's going to be August 10th, 2:30 at the Gorge. Rhiannon Giddens plays up there in Port Townsend, the McCurdy Pavilion. That's a gala, so they raise money. It's a Monday afternoon. It sounds like a fun trip on the ferry. So August 12th, make a note. That's a Monday afternoon. She was part of the Carolina Chocolate Drops, and she's
Okay.
huge. She came through and did a benefit for Folklife, too. They did like a preview of the weekend.
Okay.
So Rhiannon Giddens coming through. Walt Wagner, a great Northwest piano player, is going to do a night at Jazz Alley on the 13th. We're going to try and get him on here in the
Speaking
show.
of Jazz Alley Confunction is last night. It's going on this weekend, so
Oh.
I think tonight is their last show. Yes, but dynamic, old school.
Old school.
Yes, funk.
Gary Clark Jr. is going to play the San Michel Winery on the 14th. The 16th and 17th, same spot in Woodinville. Robert Plant and Allison Krauss. I'm sure they're going to fit some blues in there. We mentioned the Cajun Fest in Kent on the 17th with Lady A and some other great groups. Another Woodinville show at the San Michel Winery, Michael Ferranti and Spearhead. Now, that's not blues, but what fun. On the 18th, great music, just period. And then John Fogerty celebration on the 19th, same spot. So they got quite a lineup
wait.
happening in Woodinville.
They're going to party there.
And we're not even done with August. Buddy Guy and Christone Kingfish Ingram doing the double bill at the Remlinger Farms in Carnation. That's at 5:30 on the 24th. Boy, I'm talking too much. It's your turn
Well,
next.
and Charlie Wilson, you remember Gap Band? You dropped a bomb on me. Yeah. Charlie Wilson is at Tulalip Amphitheater, and that's Thursday, the 29th of August.
More August. We got Santana and the Counting Crows
is hot in
at
Seattle.
the White River Amphitheater in Auburn on the 24th. Dock Street Blues and Jazz Festival at the West of the Waterway venue in Tacoma there on the 25th. So they got a full lineup for that day. On the 26th, the Poverty Bay Blues Festival. We mentioned that already. Laurie Morvan, Polly O'Keery, and Lady A in Des Moines and Normandy Park area right there on the waterfront. At the Crocodile, Alejandro Escobedo. I just like saying his name. It's beautiful. And that's the 27th. And you let's see, Spanish Ballroom is doing a Eric Clapton tribute called Bell Bottom Blues at McMiniman's there in Tacoma on the 29th. Also the date of Charlie Wilson at the Tulalip. Then Bumbershoot, we might as well stop right now. That's wearing me out.
That's August. We hadn't even begun September yet.
No.
It's so much happening.
But we're putting it on the website,
Yeah,
so check it out,
Summertime in
bluestodoo.org.
Seattle is just a marvelous place to be. The place is gorgeous. Our weather is fantastic. I made a comment to a friend in Houston, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know. We had a pretty hot day today." I said, it got up to 88 degrees. She was like, "Shut up. If I was there, I would slap you."
She didn't wanna hear
She
about
says,
it.
"We're like at 113. I'm like, "Oh, my." And plus with the humidity. See, we don't have the
sounds really
humidity, so we have a
uncomfortable.
different heat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel sorry for Texas. And then the hurricane is coming to Tampa, Florida. So you guys, tighten up, board up.
Right.
It shouldn't be a very bad one, but any hurricane is a bad one.
Right.
It shouldn't be classified as a major.
Medearis Dixson is almost here. He just texted me, and so like any minute now he'd be walking through the door. Next week we have Stick Shift Annie. They play at the Sea Monster on the fourth Sunday every month in the afternoon, a nice 4 p.m. People like Sunday afternoon gigs. It's nice, and you go in, and it's cool and everything. So, yeah, looking forward to Stick Shift Annie Eastman, a great vocalist, a nice person, band leader, great singer. And, yeah, we also have dates. Let's see, Daniel Castro Band. That's the brother of Tommy Castro, and he'll be at the Spar on the 18th. Was that my phone dinging?
Yes.
Oh, hey, I'm here, but the front door's locked. Oh, you want to go let him in? He locked the door on you. Okay, Bennett Mateo Band on the 21st at the Spar. Daniel Castro at the 18th at the Spar. That's in August. So, yeah, more dates coming up at that venue, and we'll keep you posted, as I said. Our calendar is popping this time of year, let me tell you.
Yes.
Whew. So I do have old content I'm bringing to my website, not just new content.
Okay.
So these shows will be archived at bluestodoo.org.
Okay.
And we'll also have the audio scraped so you can stack those audio files up and just take them on the road with you and listen to our shows.
Yes.
In, what do they call that? Binge watching. Yeah. And we have old newspapers. I'm going to scan those, probably one a week. I'm just going to steadily chip away at this pile of content.
History, build the history.
You know, a lot of fun
Build
to
the
bring those
history.
back. You know,
Yes.
we lost Phil Wiggins, but John Cephas and Phil Wiggins graced the cover of my newspaper almost every year for that festival, just because they were the headliner at Port Townsend every
Yes.
year. And so, yeah, looking forward to more up in Port Townsend. All right, so, there he is, Medearis Dixson. Perfect timing. We just ran out of stuff to talk about. All right. So I'll do this introduction while he gets settled in and while Christian gets his mic all settled up.
That's right.
I don't know if I know everything about him, but we're going to find out
Hey.
more today. And I'm thrilled to have him as a guest because he has won a Grammy. We're going to hear about this Grammy award.
I can't wait to talk to him.
Just got out of church. Thank you for making it by. Appreciate it. Amen. There you go. A Grammy Award winner, attends church. He also has a day job, regular day job, not just a musician, all right? So we're going to hear about that. But we're hoping that he can quit that day job real soon and make money full-time on the music thing. And I'm going to hand it over because you have claimed to me that you are related to James Brown.
Correct.
She is James Brown's niece. You two talk this out.
Okay.
I'm gonna just
Okay,
back
tell
up.
me. Now, first off,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know your story. You know, you. It's just I'm elated to sit here next to you.
Pleasure's
You
all
know, and I hope we are related because you're keeping the music alive, and that means the world. You know, because not many of us stayed into the music part. You know, I went into radio like my dad, but yeah. Yeah, it's a joy, baby. It's a joy. My heart is beating heavy.
Well, and I don't know if I said it. Saxophonist. I didn't miss that
Yes.
word. And piano. I saw you play piano the other day. What
she
else
was
do you
talking
play?
about you earlier. Said you
I
snuck.
play about 13 or 14 different different instruments.
Are you
but-
serious?
But primarily saxophone. I don't really like to tell a lot of people I play piano because then the gigs start coming and I start getting overwhelmed.
Oh yes.
But I could say a little bit of drums, a little bit of bass, flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, a little bit of harmonica, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
my.
So,
Oh my.
you know.
So, first question:
Yes.
who named you? Your mom or your dad? Because it's such a unique and out of the ordinary name.
So I believe my dad named me, and he really wanted a girl. And so if I ended up a girl, he would have named me My Dearest.
My dearest.
Like my dearest sweetheart. He would always tell that story when I was a kid. And then I so happened to be a boy. So we ended up turning the name into Me Dearest. I say My Dearest, but my parents call it Me Dearest.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's how it
you know,
is.
for when I pronounced it, I was like, okay, that's Medea with Riss on the end of it. You know what I'm saying? And I was going to tease you about it, but no. Yeah, but where are you from originally?
I'm born and raised in Seattle, from the Central District.
Seattle.
Correct.
Okay, so give me your story as to how you're related to
Okay.
the Brown family.
I had to call my mom and make sure and check because you know how all this goes down. So my grandpa, Reverend Andrew Brown, who is from South Carolina, that moved to Yazoo City, Mississippi, that's James Brown's first cousin. My mom is James Brown's second cousin, and then I am the third cousin of James Brown.
Okay, well, we are related because you're right. South Carolina. A lot of people put the story of his life as in Augusta and Savannah, but the family
South Carolina.
came from South Carolina.
Correct.
And from there, we came from across the water. I'm still doing Ancestry.com on that one.
Come on.
Yeah, to find out. I think we're more Jamaican, somewhere in that area
Okay.
from coming over. But yeah, South Carolina was the beginning of the Brown family. So, you're exactly right. It was not Augusta
Nope.
or Savannah. They all live there, but the family, the roots come from South Carolina.
Correct.
Yes.
Which I found out a couple years ago. So I don't like to just tell a lot of people I'm related to so. So I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, you musical, but you ain't that musical. Apparently, I'm that musical.
You are. You are. And the same way with me. Especially when I first came to Seattle. Yeah, right. Show me some pictures. And
Right, that's it. I'm like, okay, then. I was just a kid when the man,
Yes.
left us, But the
Yes.
reality of it is like, you never know who you're related to.
You never know.
And,
never know.
you just got to keep it open.
And I truly believe, like, the Browns, anyone from that area of the South, we are related somewhere.
That's usually how
Like
it
you
works.
say, cousin, sixth cousin, because the plantation back in the day, he was a good slave owner, I guess you would call it.
How do you put those in a sentence
graded
together?
as not one
Yeah,
who
a good
abused his
slave owner.
his slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
There you go.
I guess we were lucky for that. But yeah, I got my interest. That's why I'm like, I want to find out more about this, the whole thing. So yeah,
Okay, I
that's
got a question.
inspiration.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Renton High School.
Oh, that'll be that Blue Angel.
That'll be the Blue
That'll be the
Angels,
Blue
ladies
Angels.
and
I don't
gentlemen.
like surprises. That's probably why. I grew up with that. So you went to Renton High?
I went to Renton High
I
School.
went to Renton High.
Oh, really? Okay. Class of 2013.
Well, I'm not going to say. You're not going to date me like that quick. I'm going to hesitate on that answer.
Look, I remember when the school was built.
Well, now, Renton has a pretty strong music program. Am I right?
It was pretty kicky when I was there. I met some of my favorite musical influences there. Shout out to Pastor James or Dr. James E. Sears, who actually inspired me to continue playing piano. Shout out to Jonathan Davis, who was all playing drums, and Gary Hay, who was playing drums. All those guys, and some of the most influential musicians that pushed me forward into the craft and playing gospel. So
Yeah. Now, you play gospel at church. What church?
I play for two churches currently. Right now, my first church service is at Freedom in Seattle under Bishop Zachary K. Bruce. The second church, which I just came from, is called In Spirit and in Truth Ministry under how do you say his last name? Pastor Kevin Francois. That's it. So that's what I do.
Good.
And playing gigs, you playing here in Seattle? Or you traveling?
I do travel.
Okay.
I play a lot locally, but like I got a chance to play at like Carnegie Hall and Kennedy Center. I played in Las Vegas at a swimsuit modeling show.
That was fun.
That was very much that'll do it. I have arrived. That's when I knew I made it. And Arizona and their local scenes, and just getting around and
Played Carnegie Hall. You made it. So what was the Grammy? Tell me about the connection there.
All right, so fun fact, it was the day before my 28th birthday when I won a Grammy. This was in the category of Rap Album of the Year with legendary artist Kendrick Lamar.
Right,
I was on
okay.
the song called Savior. So once he won Rap Album of the Year, anybody who contributed to that album won a Grammy. And I'm listed as a songwriter on that album.
On what song?
On the song called Savior.
Savior?
Yes.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Props, my brother.
Shout out to the legendary producer Mario Luciano, who's
Yes.
critically acclaimed and one of the most introspective producers that we have in Seattle. He's got a chance to produce on a Drake album, a J. Cole album, a lot of stuff he's been doing, and he let me get a chance to hang out with him.
I bet you get to hang out with a lot of people.
Just a few.
Tell us
Right.
some stories. We need good stories. What do you got up your sleeve as far as like?
I
cool
think.
stories?
Well, shout out to David Sanborn, whose birthday is today. Rest in peace.
Yes.
I got a chance to meet him a couple years ago, after my 22nd birthday, and I brought my saxophone to one of his clinics,
That's what I saw.
and so I got a chance to. He actually invited me on stage, and we got a chance to play a little bit. And
Wow.
the story behind that is he invited me, and we were playing this Charlie Parker tune. I forgot which one. And we were kind of playing. I was kind of chilling out and relaxing, and then he started going off. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of unmitigated goal I had that day. I had some kind of nerve to think I could like challenge this man. So I started going in, and then he stops the music. And see, he kind of fell into my trap. This is what he tells the crowd. And so, long story short, he was telling me that I needed to play like I'm telling a story. And it didn't resonate with me at that moment, but later down the road, when you kind of get some experience and you start getting crowd reactions and you start learning how to really like sing with the saxophone or anything musically, you start understanding what telling a story meant. And so I got a chance to meet him a couple years ago when he came to a winery in Redmond, I believe, the Chateau Saint Michel, and I got a chance to tell him that story. He kind of remembered me a little bit, and I got a chance to tell my idol thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Well, now your
Yes.
saxophone is signed. Am I right?
Kenny G.
Kenny G signed your saxophone.
Yes.
Tell me that story.
So this was a crazy weekend because before I even met Kenny G, I was gifted with the saxophone by none other than Veronica Very of the Wild Gallery in Seattle. Really dope work that they're doing. She gifted me with this saxophone signed by Kenny G. Now, a man who I was supposed to sign to his label by the name of Luane Battle gave me 2 tickets to Jazz Alley where he was performing. I didn't think I was going to meet him then because everybody wants to go meet Kenny G. That's really what it is. But he was actually meeting people. He did a meet and greet in the back, and I brought my signed saxophone, and I got a chance to take a picture with him. Now, another fun fact about that day.
There it is. Oh, wow.
Yep, there it is. I brought a music producer who sampled My by Johnny Gill with me. But in the beginning of that song, Kenny G is doing a saxophone solo. He sampled that and went platinum. So I got a chance to bring him along with me, and we both thank Kenny G so much for just being him.
Yes.
Very cool story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you rocking and rolling, my boy. I just can't say enough about you. And I saw you at Phyllis Talley's birthday party. Her and her cousin had a birthday party.
Oh my gosh! Shout
And-
out to Phyllis. Shout out to
Yes.
Phyllis and Jennifer. Oh my
And
God.
Jennifer,
Jennifer
yes.
Johnson, Lady J. They
Yes.
Lady J.
Yes.
Incredible team. And the band features Dave Holden Jr.,
Yes.
part of the Holden
The
family,
Holden
which is
family.
like part
They're-
of Seattle music.
as a matter of fact, I'm expecting Ron to come in from L.A. any day now. He called. I'll be there next week because they're having their giant family reunion.
Ron who?
Ron Holden.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh. Senior.
Now,
That's okay.
Oscar
Yes.
was the dad of all that family, and he's on the cover of Jackson Street After Hours.
Ah, okay.
So you play saxophone. Who, besides Kenny G, inspired you that was in Seattle? I mean, there's Floyd Stanover. How many? Tell me some names of people that you got to see or meet here locally.
So, first of all,
There's some faces. There's you.
oh, that's at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, cool.
Well, first of all, shout out to my music teacher, Jordan Rui, who recently passed a couple months ago. That was the one who started it off next to Gary Hammond. That was the man who actually first started teaching me how to play saxophone, giving me private lessons, and then I went to Jordan Rui. Another name that I have to mention is Leonard Rhodes, Doc Leonard Rhodes, rest in peace. Without him, I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. He gave me the confidence to go out there. he always just tell me, hey, just go play.
Yes.
Don't worry about nobody else. Don't worry about nothing else. You know you can play. Go and play. Don't worry. Just be unapologetically you when playing. Mr. Lonnie Williams.
I was just
Amen.
about to mention his name. You know?
It just, again, giving me the lesson of etiquette of the bandstand. That was a contribution to what I am today. So these are my saxophone Mount Rushmore people.
Yeah.
Like, these are the ones that instill their energy into me to keep it going forward.
Yeah, Lonnie is a favorite elder for us as well.
Yes.
Grew up in Beaumont,
Yeah,
and she
we're
grew
from
up in
the same
Beaumont.
hometown.
Oh, right, Beaumont, Texas?
Beaumont, Texas.
Come on now.
Yes. And when I came, when I came here from Katrina and I met Marlee, 88 Keys, and we've been rolling since then. And she's like, hey, I know a guy. He's from Texas. As a matter of fact, he's from Beaumont.
Okay.
And I'm like, I got to meet him, and then I run into Lonnie, and,
That's
he does his critique on you, no matter who you are, or and I just love Lonnie to death. Love him to death.
Well, now, he told me a story about how when he was learning saxophone, he had to go outside the house because his mom wouldn't let him play inside because it was a little too honk honk or something.
Yeah.
What were your first days like? I mean, tell us the story.
My first days were pretty cool. My dad is, God rest his soul, he was the one that was kind of annoyed a little bit, and I could sense it. So I would stay at school and practice. And
Is that him there?
that is my dad. Wow, you guys went deep. Okay, yeah, that is me and my dad. And so we got a chance to like learn, and I learned a lot through having a piano in the house. And then once I learned how to play the blues, he'd invite a lot of his friends and family members over. He'd be like, Medearis, or he'd be like Nucky, because that's everybody from the South has like gives a nickname or a pet name, if you would. My dad's from Chattanooga, Tennessee, so he'd be like, Nucky, come play the blues for my friends, or hey, play the blues for Mr. Larry. I'm like, okay, I'm dum 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 dum. So we do all of that.
So you played the blues.
Oh, I mean, a little bit from time
See,
to
I
time.
wanted to call you a blues man.
Oh,
but
no.
you started with the blues. It
yeah.
informs what you do, huh?
Just a little bit,
Look, I think from the South, we all come from the church
Come on.
and blues.
Yeah.
They intertwine,
They did that up in Port Townsend this weekend. It was gospel
Yes.
and blues.
Yes.
Great singing out of Detroit.
Yes.
So long story short, I didn't have it. This was around like 7th grade. I wasn't connecting. I really wasn't getting it until one concert later. Shout out to Darren Motamedy also. That's another
yeah, there you go.
saxophonist that they gave me my first gig as a 7th grader.
Wow.
I made $12. That was a lot of money back then. I definitely wasted it on some candy back then,
$12 is $12.
$12 is $12.
Still today, yeah.
Still to this day. So he whispered my first blues scale in my ear. And this was in the middle of a concert. And he was telling me, use this scale when you're soloing. And he gave me we started playing a line with the kids. I was one of them, 7th grade, my 7th grade middle school, under director Joy Roberts at Nelson Middle School. And so like a switch turned on in my head that day. I went from not being able to play to being able to play a lot of different things I didn't know that made sense. And I was able to start hearing music in a whole different way that night. That was my first standing ovation as a saxophonist. And that's how I knew I was going to do this for the long haul.
Right on. Right
Oh,
on. That's
cool.
beautiful. Way to
And
go,
how
Darren.
special, that's special.
Yeah, Darren Motamedy, another great player in town. So you found some cool people to hang with.
The right ones, yes.
Right?
The right ones.
So do you think going to church has something to do with?
Oh, most definitely. My mom used to sing in the choir, and we would be at Goodwill Missionary Baptist Church off of Yesler Street, and she would be in the choir stand, and I'd be right there, asleep, and listening to good music, and under the minister of music, Jackie Hardy, who was on organ, she would have them singers working out.
Right.
She'd send all the musicians home, and it'd be the singers just getting the parts right for hours.
Really?
And hours.
Really?
And when I tell you, like, her band was, nobody can argue this. Her band, her choir was the best choir because of the strenuous work ethic.
that she did, yeah.
And I was right there, sleep, soaking it in, subconsciously.
You bet. Oh, you bet. Sound waves.
Yes.
They worked on you,
Yes.
no doubt. What about Total Experience Gospel Choir? Did you ever meet Pat Wright?
I don't think I met Pat Wright, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But, you know, I've definitely worked with a lot of people that were influenced by Pat Wright.
yeah.
So you can't help but throw the name in there like a Josephine Howell, if you would.
There you go.
You just got to give a shout out to Big Sis. I'm in her band, and I'm her horn player. That's like, you know, she's held me down the last couple of years. Like she's put up with all of my malarkey. Tell you that right now. So
Well, and I have no trouble saying she is my favorite vocalist in Seattle. There's a lot of good
You
singers
told me
here,
that. You
but
told me that several times.
Josephine has had
You
me
told
crying
that.
to make a big puddle right in front of me,
Yeah,
and
she'll
right
do
in the
that.
palm of her hand.
Yep.
I would just, whatever you want. I'm like,
You know, and she's a type person. When you look at her, you just like, yeah, you feel her spirit.
Oh,
you
she's
know,
so
it's just
genuine.
like,
Yeah.
exactly.
She
You know,
means
you're
it.
just genuine, and her smile is genuine.
Very
You
much
know,
so.
you can see other people, especially when we're at events. You know, you smiling
to her.
faces sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? But she is always so genuine and always so welcoming.
very much so.
You know that, yeah.
okay, so you play with her. Who else you play with? Where can we see you do your thing? Is it your band or it's with other people mostly, right?
Well, the festival in Sunjata will be coming up. My band will be playing there. We have like 2 names for it, depending on who's booking the gigs. I feel like.
There you are.
Oh yeah, that's so. I'm glad you brought that up. So, quick commercials break.
ahead.
This is my sample pack. You can find that on polyphonicmusiclibrary.com. You can find my, this is for the producers who are aspiring to make beats and get placements. And that's also with the assistance of Mario Luciano. So if you want to go grab that, go ahead. You would be doing us a favor.
Okay.
And it's a really good project that we put together.
So people can buy that.
People can buy that,
And
yes.
that's where you get the money.
Yep.
We like hearing that story. If it goes right into your pocket, oh, yeah.
And so there's only like 3 vinyls that I was able to give out. I have one, my sister has the other. But if you ever want to see that vinyl in a local place, you can go to Dre's Eatery in the South End of Seattle, and you'll see that vinyl that's signed by me.
Okay.
They feed you when you go in there for free?
Of course. I mean, I got to support my local. I don't really ask for anything for free, but
Yes.
Oh, you're so
but
humble. You're so kind.
But that is my big brother, though. So it's Lake Route Eatery. Go check out my vinyl.
Say that again. Now, the website, they can find that out one more time.
Polyphonicmusiclibrary.com.
Okay. Very good.
And the name of where the
The restaurant.
vinyl is what?
Is Dre's Lake Route Eatery.
Okay.
Yeah, that's literally right off of Rainier Avenue. You just make that right before you go to the long thing that has no turns, the little, on the water. I don't know how to.
Yes.
Seward Park Drive or whatever.
It's not Seward Park Drive. It's the other one because it's still on Rainier Avenue.
it's still
But
Rainier.
before it's like the last turn you go before like you start getting into the Lake Ridge, Bryn Mawr area.
Oh, yeah.
So you just make that right. You be right there.
That's where I grew up, Lake Ridge.
Oh wow. Okay, I grew up in Bryn Mawr.
We're neighbors.
Come on, neighbor.
I was just a couple generations
Went to
before.
the same school.
Gosh, there's so many other questions. This is really fun. One of the things we like to do is blues prevention. So, like good advice. Sometimes it comes out of the ethers. You don't even know where it's going to come from.
Okay.
Do you have a piece of good advice that somebody gave you that you could share that would be universal and good for our audience, not just you, the saxophone player?
If anything, I feel like good advice that I have for anybody is just remembering that it's all love at the end of the day. There's a lot of times where I probably could have wasted time not being mad or upset when somebody gave me a piece of advice that I thought was detrimental. But it's the reality of it is people, first of all, don't have to waste time giving you knowledge that may have helped them. And a lot of people.
Say that again. That's powerful.
I'm just saying, like a lot of people. No, for real. Like a lot of people genuinely tell you something because they want the best for you. Sometimes, you can kind of weed out, the knowledge or what it is based off of what applies to you and what it doesn't. But the fact that some people will take their time to talk to you and try to give you some piece of advice is a lot more than what most people have the heart to give. So it's all love at the end of the day.
Yes.
Even when you don't understand it at the moment, even though it might hurt a little bit. Because, again, one more story I got for you is when I met Branford Marsalis. He told me that I played like I never listened to music in my life.
Oh, ouch.
That was the first jazz legend I ever got a chance to play with. And the reality was, at the time, he was right.
He was right.
A lot of people want to, be told how good they are and that they're doing a good job.
Yes.
But I feel like the growth and development of proving somebody wrong and then learning that they were right at the end of the day just shows how much more that we have to learn about ourselves and what we do. And that was love. He didn't have to waste his time. He didn't have to share a stage with me. He kept it 110. I did not sound like I knew what I was doing on that saxophone, even though I've been gassed up all my life about, oh, yeah, you're really good. In some circuits, I was. But the reality of it is there's levels to it. And so...
Good advice.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I think we might have to bump mine to next week.
that
Because I
is
had
good.
something ready. But no, that's beautiful.
Yeah, people do not have to waste their time giving you advice.
They don't.
And we're just here to learn and grow.
That is
So if you're
powerful.
open to what people say,
Yes.
and I just went through that last week. One of my friends blew my mind. He
Yes.
said, Marlee, you're not a victim. And I went, and then I went, you're right, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Gratitude, because I feel much more empowered now. I'm not a
Uh-huh.
victim, and that's what I needed. So,
Yes.
not to make it about me, but appreciate you.
Just telling stories. But I remember when I went, and a very, very infamous entertainer, I'm like, hi, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing fine. He said, you're not ready. And it cracked my face. I got pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I turned and I left, and he just looked at me. He said, I knew you were mad. He said, but I told you something that you needed to hear. People are telling you who you are and this, and you're not ready right now. And then maybe a year later, they see me and they're like, you know what? You're ready. And it made me feel so good because that stayed on my mind so heavy that it made me improve myself. And like you say, it pisses you off, but it's good for you in the long run.
It is.
And when you recognize it, you be like, wow. And then to get that accolade that you're ready, I was like, okay. And from there, I went into the National Black Radio Hall
There
of
you
Fame.
go. You work hard.
Yes, got
To
on the
get to that
American
stuff.
Blues Network and, doing the show with you here. All of that happened after.
Oh, I know we're running over, but I got to
Yes.
ask you about your family because it sounds like that's a really important part of who you are.
Very much so.
Tell me about your family.
So my dad was known as the telephone man because he worked for a phone company called Pacific Northwest Bell that became U.S. West, that became Quest, retired from Quest, which became CenturyLink. Now I believe it's called Lumen. So a lot of name changes. My mom was a number of things. She started off as a hairdresser. I think she was a correctional officer. She worked at Child Haven, and then she became a private caretaker for this really dope family called the Bellardis, who built the floating bridge.
Oh, wow.
So so my mom being a school teacher for those who were abused and drug addicted as youth, I grew up with empathy. With my dad growing up as a telephone man, I learned about communication and being able to have conversations with people. And on top of that, networking. These are things that I didn't know I learned about, but I learned about them because I watched my parents grow. And just being able to learn the important lesson of taking care of your home and handling your business. These were the lessons that were well indoctrinated into what I do now.
Yes.
Taking care of my business, take care of my home.
Yes.
And,
Cool.
and you have a day job that you're going to quit because you're going to go music full time. We know this about him. What's your day
Yes.
job? Just as
So I'm a security officer at Seattle Children's Hospital. I've been there for 7.5 years.
Right on.
And shout out to Chris Potan, who gave me a job there and gave me a chance.
And they give you a break when you need to fly somewhere and play music. That's a great job to keep.
Oh, yeah, no.
With music. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
even
congratulations.
with that job, learning a lot of different stories about, learning about a lot of different lessons about de-escalation and
Right.
just being more involved in community and understanding circumstances and breaking cultural barriers.
Yes.
That's huge. That also translates into like a lot of my music and my approach to talking to people as well. Just understanding that people go through a lot of hard things, but also knowing that we're in this together and we are cautiously optimistic to make the best decisions and to get through this together.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
You know, I still believe there are more good people than there are bad people.
amen.
You know.
I'm getting my hair standing up
Yes.
again.
And speaking of that, we must remind everyone to vote.
Yep.
You know, I
Come
mean,
full circle there.
not just the big elections. You know, the state of Washington has our local elections going on right now, and it matters because the local officials give the higher officials more power. That's something we must understand. It's not just one vote. The little votes make the powers that be more powerful.
Right. And, you know, you're more powerful than you know. If you haven't voted, you really need to show yourself that you have that power.
Yes.
I mean, there's some self-esteem. Your shoulders go back.
Yes.
I voted. I got the
Yes.
sticker right there on my computer.
Yes.
I voted.
Kamala Harris did a PSA, and she was like, I know money is tight right now, but the Democratic Party against Donald Trump, if $5, you don't know how much $5 would mean to us, helping us.
Tell you
And I
what.
thought about it. I'm like, you know what? That's cool. You know, I spent $5 on a cup of coffee. So she opened my eyes to the fact that those little few dollars, because when you want to donate something and you only have $5 or $20, you'll figure like it's not going to help. You know, I don't have enough to help, but every $5 help. Kamala.
Oh, you could do public radio. You can pitch for money. Medearis, this has to be chapter 1. We got to do another chapter with you. But is there any more that you want to say before we go? I mean, you gave a lot of good shout outs, and some good advice. Is there something we missed?
We'll say that for chapter 2.
Yeah.
Save that for chapter
I could
2.
be here all day.
Are you writing a book? Are you working on a book?
I'm working on a book. I'm
I
working on
believe
an
it.
album.
No doubt.
And I have a manager, Charmel McMillan. Shout out to her. She's out of DC. Really amazing woman who also has a book. Who's also working on another book.
Cool. Right on.
If you want to support her, there's a book called Just One Thing, who changed my life a little bit with her stories and her personal testimonies and the way that God works in her life. You would be if you support me, you got to support her too. This is a family package. This is a family deal here.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt.
So that's all I got right now.
We're going to keep an eye on you, and it's definitely fun when you show up in the room and everybody knows, oh, get him up right away. Get him up right away.
As a matter of fact, I
It's a lovely thing to
left
see.
the party the other night because I had to program the radio show for the next morning, and you told me Marlee called. Guess what? Medearis is on stage. I'm like, oh my! I left
I said,
moment too
"Medearis is here,"
soon.
and I got like a little bit of happy birthday, and I'm still kind of getting over it. It was like, I don't even know if I recognized it by the time you got done with it. You know, you chewed it up, spit it
Yeah.
out, and I was like, well, I think that was happy birthday by the time.
Where are you
tore it
playing?
up,
Where
man.
I can come and see you live?
So Festival Sanjata, that's going to be in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
My band's going to be performing there.
That's usually in June. So what date are we looking at? I didn't get that.
We're looking at August 21st, I believe.
Okay.
If that's
Okay.
a Friday.
That's a weekend. Yeah.
Let's see. Let me double check and make sure. So August 23rd is the day.
Okay.
23rd.
So we'll be at Festival Sanjata. I'm actually today. I'm gonna be at. I'm actually gonna be at the Umoja Fest, playing with Z and her band called. She's gonna kill me.
Z's band?
Z's band.
Oh.
Arzelia
We
Jones.
like Omega.
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 That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
So I'm a special guest saxophonist for her band Omega.
For Seat Fair. basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, where is this?
This is at Judkins Park.
Judkins Park,
Okay.
right? In
Correct.
the heart of the CD.
Yep. So it should be on there in about 3 hours. So
In
you
about
can-
3 hours?
About 3 hours. So
Make
you,
sure you get enough time to eat.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
give us
yeah.
time to get something to eat
know,
and
get a
go,
snack.
and go. Yeah.
Meanwhile, you
Let's
can
hang
watch
out.
all the archives of all of our shows. Just go to YouTube, check it out. Either the Seattle Drum School or Blues to Do will get you there. The pathway will be fun. There's so many great shows we've done. We really appreciate you, Medearis Dixson, for being our guest. Dixson.
come on.
See, I thought you were related to Willie Dixon. I was going to go there, but then, oh, wait, there's an S in there. But I still managed to misspell your first name. It's easy to do. I
Yeah,
must
very,
admit.
very much so.
You probably get that all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
Sponsorship of this podcast is available. We'd love to get your sponsorship into the program. And do check out bluestodo.org. We'll come back next week with our wisdom and bathroom reviews and other things. But we had to make room for Medearis tonight or today. And let's see. I think that's about
One of a
it.
kind guy here.
Yeah, thanks to Christian Sadler, our engineer. Chandler Dabbs helps out on that level 2 KZ, and CD Littlefield and Stephen Christie Smith here at the Seattle Drum School. We love you. Thank you very much. Love is the key.
Love is the
It's
key.
all
Love
love.
is the
Thank you
key.
very much for
At the
bringing
end
that
of the
to
day.
the surface.
All
Yeah.
love. At the end of the day.
It was all
Amen.
about love.
It's real music, real people, real stories. We'll see you next week. Living the blues.